Breaking news. Something major has just happened. Starlink is coming to South Africa, and Elon Musk will not have to do a BEE deal to operate in South Africa. Do you remember what Rupert offered Donald Trump in the White House, in the Oval Office, after Donald Trump requested that they dim the lights to play the Malema and Jacob Zuma music videos? Rupert kept talking about Starlink and how Starlink is needed at every police station. Now, the Minister of Communications has changed the regulations to open the way to do just that. Do you remember what South Africa's richest man was saying to Donald Trump and to Elon Musk, who was quiet throughout the whole meeting but seems to have got what he wanted? This is what Rupert said.
Johann, please.
Sorry, Mr. President, if you had to wind all of those things properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rabble browser. Number one for over 10 years, Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman. And look how he's changed.
Right.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board. It's not only white farmers. It's across the board. And we need technological development. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, in US basics, the ridicule. So if you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. We need your help, sir. And we need Elon technology.
Well, one of the real areas of support is really in investments. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we're then able to create more jobs. Because crime really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here, to improve our investment relations, our trade relations, so that we can preserve the number of jobs that your companies have created in South Africa. By virtue of what we export to you, we are able to create up to 500,000 jobs.
Well, it looks like they're not wasting any time on this issue. The Minister of Communications has gazetted a new regulation today, just 2 days after the meeting at the Oval Office. Just 2 days. As soon as the flight landed, basically, from the Oval Office, the regulation has been gazetted. This is what the regulation says. Take a look at this. Regulation in terms of Section 23 of the State Information Technology Agency Act of 1998 as amended. I, Solima Lati, the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, hereby, after consultation with the relevant stakeholders and the Minister of Finance, insert the following in the general regulations published under Section 23 of the State Information Technology Act of 1998 as amended. Section 17.8, Efficiency of Procurement. If a designated department, having complied with Regulation 8.11, is of the opinion that the agency will not be able to satisfy the department's requirements, or the department will be able to do so faster or at a lower cost, the department may give written notice to the agency. Following the receipt of a notice to the agency in terms of Regulation 17.81, if the agency responds to indicate that it is unable to meet the department's required within the period specified by the department, or responds that it is able to procure the information technology goods or services required by the department within the period specified by the department, and provides the procurement schedule for doing so and cost, but the department is of the opinion that it can nonetheless procure the required information technology goods or services in accordance with the general procurement prescripts faster or at a lower cost, the department may proceed to procure the required information technology goods or services in accordance with the general procurement prescripts after notifying the agency and the relevant treasury of its decision. and Regulation 17.8 will take effect from the 1st of June 2025. This is the 23rd of May, basically 8 days from now, 1 week from now. Regulation 8.1, by the way, of the State Information Agency Act deals with the manner of procurement and preparation for soliciting bids. So this is about creating a path for Starlink to access South Africa. Elon Musk owns Starlink. Starlink, for those who are not following the company or familiar with it, is an internet service provider, and it is a satellite internet network which is operated by SpaceX, Elon Musk's rocket company, that provides high-speed, low-latency broadband internet across the globe. Here are the key aspects of Starlink. It has extensive coverage and speed. Starlink provides internet service to areas where fiber optic cables are expensive or difficult to install. Users can expect download speeds between 20 megabytes per second and 250 megabytes per second. They provide these satellites which are different from traditional satellites. Traditional satellite internet services rely on single geostationary satellites which are operating or orbiting at about 22,000 miles from the Earth, which is about 40 or so thousand kilometers from the Earth. Starlink uses thousands of smaller satellites, which are stationed approximately 340 miles above the Earth. As of late 2024, Starlink has over 6,376 satellites in orbit. So it's a direct-to-cell technology. Starlink can actually provide connectivity to unmodified cellular phones and is offered globally in partnership with various national cellular service providers. Vodacom. Equipment to access Starlink, users need a kit that includes a small satellite dish, a mounting tripod, a Wi-Fi router, cables, and a power supply. So this new regulation gives a path to avoid the ICASA BEE regulations. You may not know this, but on the 31st of March 2021, South Africa's communications regulator, the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, ICASA, published regulations in respect to limitations of control and equity ownership by historically disadvantaged groups and the application of the ICT sector code. The new regulations impose new rules on licensed providers of communications networks and services, including fixed mobile and network operators, internet service providers, broadcasters, satellite providers, and others. The new regulations were aimed at increasing diversity and facilitating transformation in the communications sector. Communications companies are measured for broad-based Black economic empowerment purposes in terms of the ICT sector code, which is published by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, who, by the way, was also in the White House on that day under the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act of 2003, the BEE Act, right? So individual licensees, such as larger network operators and providers, have to comply with the following rule. They need 30% ownership by persons from historically disadvantaged backgrounds. This is what Elon was talking about when we were saying, I can't open Starlink in South Africa because I'm not Black. That's not particularly true, but there is a regulation that says that you need to have 30% ownership of the local version of the company in order to operate. But clearly now that Solima Latsi has gazetted this regulation, there is now a path for Starlink to operate in South Africa without complying with that law, meaning that Elon will still have all of the ownership of the company as he wanted to. So Elon Musk has got what he wanted. And as a bonus, the promise that was made in front of the world is that there will be a Starlink at every police station in South Africa. South Africa has approximately 1,116 police stations, between 1,116 and 1,154 police stations nationwide. So these are all going to get Starlink. That's a massive contract. These police stations fall under the jurisdiction of 9 provincial commissioners who report to the national commissioner. There are also 40,000 commercial farms in South Africa. It's very possible that if Starlink is used in police stations, it will also be used in the rural schools, also used in clinics and hospitals. Those are massive government contracts. Elon Musk is going to make billions in US dollars from that deal alone, but he's also going to make some serious money on the commercial farms. And potentially there's a partnership between Vodacom and Starlink to provide the cellular signal and to provide the contracts for those commercial farm owners who want to use Starlink to make calls. Do you see how the thing is going? So massive government contract negotiated after coercion by an American, South African, African-American government official called Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the biggest Trump donor in the 2024 election, the man working in the government Department of Efficiency, in the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, U.S. Department of Government Efficiency, the man who was in the Oval Office, in the White House, on the side of Donald Trump, the South African, American, Canadian Elon Musk. Elon Musk has got a lot of passports and a lot of identities. Story for another day. He doesn't identify as African or South African, though. But in any case, he has obtained a massive government contract after coercion. Elon Musk's moves right now are making a lot of sense. Think about the sequence of events. The cancellation of US aid. This affected South Africa. The cancellation of the President Emergency, President's Emergency Program for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, also affected South Africa. The 7th of February executive order by Donald Trump addressing egregious actions of the Republic of South Africa, issued by the White House, by Trump. The statement, South Africa, bad things are happening in 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 South Africa. All of this seems to have been for this. Wait a minute. Is this neocolonialism? Are we witnessing the actions of Elon Didi, an economic hitman? Are we actually watching Kid Cudi's car exploding right in front of us right now? What do you think? Is this the manipulation? The question is, what did Johann Rupert get in return for this deal? He was the one that suggested the deal. He's not a government official. He's not elected. But he was the one proposing a deal that now seems to be going through. You may not be aware, actually, but Rupert was involved in Vodacom entering the South African market just before the dawn of democracy in 1993. Vodacom was incorporated in South Africa as a joint venture between Telkom, Vodafone, and Venfin Limited. So Vodacom then launched its mobile services in 1994, right in time. Rupert's companies have gone through various restructuring over the years. In 1993, his entity was known as Rembrandt, and they owned an entity called Venfin. They sold their Vodacom shares only in 2006. Only in 2006, 13 years later, for billions. So Rupert actually even now is still heavily involved in the telecommunications space. He's the owner of Dark Fiber Africa, the owner of Vumatel, and his entity is trying to make a deal with Vodacom. His entity Maziv is trying to make a deal with Vodacom to merge with Vodacom. But the Competition Commission said, nope. Look at this. Last year, the Competition Tribunal ruled against Vodacom's proposed acquisition of Maziv because the merger would permanently harm competition in South Africa's telecommunications sector and negatively affect millions of consumers who rely on affordable internet services. So now, is it going to be the case that Rupert is now going to do a deal with Elon? Is Vodacom going to do a deal with Elon? Is Rupert helping out his future merger partner? Because, by the way, they're taking this whole thing to court. What is happening here? Are these billionaires now trying to say, if your courts don't want us to get particular things, we will squeeze your nuts until those nuts give us what we require? What's happening here? Let me calm down. I want to ask a serious question. We were told that there's something wrong with rich Indian businessmen meeting at a hotel in Saxon World to discuss who should be a minister with the president and with other ministers. And in fact, the Guptas, who were accused of that, were maligned, and we were told that there's a term for what they were doing: state capture. That's what we were told. We've been told that using connections to get government contracts is the worst form of corruption. Edwin Sodi and others have been attacked vehemently, and I've been one of the people who criticized them, who said, you can't be doing this to get government contacts. With the people who do this have been called tenderpreneurs. I often joke that they take that money that they get from the contract and they give it to Hoshkari Maimas, Nkari Uli, China. Hey, or baddies as they are known in America. For my American and European audience, what is a Hoshkari Maima? It's a baddie. I'm just abbreviating it for you. There's a lot more context to it, but It's a baddie. It's a baddie. Thank you so much, by the way, for being here. I've noticed that we have an audience in Europe, in Australia, in the USA, in parts of Africa, North Africa. I've seen comments from all over the world, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming through. I hope you subscribe and keep supporting the channel. We've got a book lab for members only. We do book dissections, go deep in that. If you haven't checked that out, you should join the book lab. Amazing content on there. So, Ahosh Karimaima is a baddie, but the difference with this baddie is that she dates politically connected businessmen. These baddies typically have fair complexion, you know. They're Ankari Uli Chinas, and they have yellow thighs and tell no lies to these business owners, right? In any event, in America, they may date a rapper or a baller. So you're up to speed. Is this not a version of all of the things we were told are bad? Jokes aside. We were told something's wrong with some rich guy calling a president to make recommendations for who should be minister. Is something not wrong for South Africa's richest man, a man whose companies dominate the JSE, to go and enter the White House as not any member of the government, just as himself? How are you here? No, I know Trump and I'm rich. And then not only that, after Trump sets up the question to then say, we need your help, Mr. Trump. We need Starlink. We need Starlink at every police station. Is this not the same thing? Or is it the same thing but so in your face, and these people are supposed to be on the good guy's side that we are hesitant to actually say, hang on, something's funny about all of this. Who does Rupert account to? Is this how procurement is done now? You remember what I told you about Donald Trump, that he's a litmus paper, that he will expose all of the racists, the extremists, that also he will expose the real power brokers and dealers, and how on the Twitter streets we have a saying, you beat the dog until the owner comes out. Remember how I say Donald Trump exposes even government inefficiencies and how government moves slowly? That's what I said. I said Donald Trump is a litmus paper. Do you not think that he's done it again? Shown us how business is being done in South Africa, who the real movers and shakers are. Think about it. In 2 days, a whole regulation was changed. But even if you don't think it's a 2-day thing, Donald Trump came in on the 20th of January. I'm recording this on the 23rd of May. 4 months. 160 days. And Elon Musk will be able to bring Starlink into South Africa by next week. On the 1st of June, when that regulation comes into effect, he withdrew his application, by the way, at the end of Jan. He was like, nah, I'm not going to do it like this. I'm going to come back. I'm going to circle back. Don't call me. I'll call you with my friend Donald Trump. Sheesh. Is this not a version of what we're told is wrong? How is this different or better to what the Guptas are accused of doing? Look, I think the idea of Starlink is actually a good idea. I think people need internet. I think rural schools in particular need internet. Many countries have allowed the service, and Elon complied with their regulations in every country. But not necessarily here, because he's had the rules changed, or the rules are now being changed for him to get Trump off our back, to get a goer, to get all of these things. Is it worth it? Is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? The question I have around Starlink is not so much about the idea of the service. In fact, let me show you something. I've read 2 books about this man, one by Ashley Vance and this one, which I still have a copy of here, by Walter Isaacson, one of the greatest biographers of all time. I don't trust Elon Musk. He's done things which are ethically questionable, to take ownership of companies, to get business deals. And just recently, we just saw XAI admitting to manipulation of Grok AI. That makes me wonder if this man should be the man handling internet access at police stations. I don't know. But that's where things stand right now. That's where we are right now. Elon got this deal. This is, I guess, what they're saying it will take to get Trump off South Africa's back. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Let's talk in the comment section. I'm gonna meet you there. I'm gonna be there right now with you. Let's have this conversation.